I am excited. That's, I think, where I struggle with ADHD. Like, I get so excited about things and then I make them much bigger and more complicated than they need to be. And then
I feel attacked.
So I went to the weed store today.
Oh, this is going to be a good story.
I haven't been in a long time. And there's a spot for what word am I looking for? There's 2 cash registers. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for the word cash register. There's 2 of them up at the counter. So, they're taking 2 people at a time. And the girl checking me out, suddenly she's looking in the bag and she's a little confused. And she's like, hang on, did I get your ID? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay. And she's like, oh, you know what? There's 2 Laurens that are picking up now, and I must have, just like tapped on the wrong one. The other Lauren is standing next to me, and she's
no
like,
way.
Yeah, and she's like, and you guys had similar orders. Like, you both just got 3 edibles, and I think we got like the same brand of ones, which is just like, I was just really confused. And I was like, dude, we should have been best friends.
Wait.
She didn't seem that interested in being my best friend. I know.
The meet cute that didn't happen.
Right?
What if you met your bestie at the weed store?
We're both Laurens that like the same edibles. Come on.
Was she like your age too?
She looked like she might have been younger. She might have been more like your age. She wasn't, like 20. I guess you'd have to be 21.
Wow.
But whatever.
I've been told that I look younger than I am.
Well, so have I.
Yeah. It's the trauma. It's the emotional development, lack thereof. I don't fucking know. I'm tired. This has been the weirdest week ever. Very exhausting. Not bad, just like weird and exhausting.
Well, I mean, I know you had a couple big things happen.
Yeah, things are happening.
Yeah.
Very fast, but also not fast enough.
Well, that's life.
God, you sound so sage and wizened.
I'm not. I'm older, but I'm still really dumb.
I thought you were going to say I'm older, but I'm still really young.
No, not that. Just dumb.
Oh no, I have to cough. Okay. Do you have any more questions about this person?
I don't think so. I felt like, I just checked out a little bit so I wouldn't go in totally blind, but I'm just kind of excited, whatever they end up talking about.
Yeah, ADHD is one thing she wanted to talk about.
Yay!
And mental health in general. Trying to see what her title is officially because I didn't do that. OpenSecretsMagazine.com. Oh, wow. There's a lot of menu items on their site. That's good. Lots of categories. Okay, yeah. She's the editor. Okay, here she is. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome back to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast that sometimes interviews famous people.
I'm laughing.
I don't know. I'm put on the spot. If either of you have a better one, I'm all ears.
I don't have a better one. Oh, I'm sorry. I just jumped right in. I was actually listening to your podcast earlier, like an hour ago, and I just wanted to say, don't comment on what people are eating. It's just, or people's body shape, size. I was just like, it's 2026. Who does that? I mean, probably don't even think it, but if you're going to think it, don't say it. It's worse if it's your coworker because you're going to see those people again. And then you're not, even if they don't say it again, then it's in your head that they said it that one time.
Except the people commenting think that that's perfectly fine, but they did. So that doesn't bother them that they see you again.
I just can't imagine saying to a coworker, unless it was they said something about the thing that they're eating, I love this kind of whatever. And then you might be like, oh, I've never had that before. But to comment the way the person who called in was saying, I'm just so shocked, but I shouldn't be shocked. I know sometimes maybe I'm naive that I think everyone should be nicer to people than they are, but
well, yeah.
Sorry, I just totally jumped right in. I know we haven't introduced me. I just was I was literally listening to it earlier, and I was so just what?
It's crazy. You should listen to the original one we did about workplace incidents. It was Lauren's first topic. By the way, yeah, Rachel, this is my co-host, Lauren.
Hi.
Hello.
who did not introduce herself
No,
earlier.
I talked over
Well,
you.
we were kind of in the middle of a conversation. I didn't know what was going on. That often happens. I mean, it doesn't because we're professional.
Yeah. And today we have a guest. Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself? Say your name, pronouns, what you do.
Rachel Kramer Bussel, she, her. I am a writer and the editor of Open Secrets magazine, which is how I met Christina, who wrote an amazing essay. Maybe you guys can link it in the show notes. Your essay was really, really brilliant. Like, I think about it a lot because it was about, well, I'll let you say more specifically what it was about.
I haven't really talked about it.
Oh, can I talk about it?
Yeah, please. This is perfect.
I started a series on food insecurity when there were the issues around the SNAP benefits happening in November, and got a range of essays on different aspects of it. But yours was about the intersection of eating disorders, specifically bulimia and food insecurity and finances. And I just thought it was very smart. Like, I think these are all hard topics to talk about. Mental health, I mean, not for everyone, but, in general, mental health, eating disorders, and money and finances. And you melded them really well without oversimplifying them. I think sometimes people on all kinds of topics, but especially like intense topics, they want to wrap it up with a bow at the end, like, and then I learned this lesson and everything is either everything is fine now, or just like they're very neatly wrapped up. And sometimes that is accurate, but I think more often in real life, our lives are not wrapped up neatly because they're our lives. So I think that aspect of it, I really appreciated. So, and I write a very sporadic, it's supposed to be monthly, but it's been like 4 months, a column there called the ADHD Diaries. I figure it's my own website and it's a column about ADHD. So I'm sure people understand that my ADHD sometimes is like, oh, I should do all these other things before my own writing. So I have a backlog of ideas.
I don't know what that's like.
I have this one I've been wanting to write about how when I'm driving is one of the few times I feel like not that I don't have ADHD, but I don't have the symptoms of it, or I can push my intrusive thoughts like aside to focus on driving because I have to very much focus because I'm not a great driver and I'm still pretty nervous about it. So,
well, that's why I like riding motorcycles, because I can't focus on anything else or I'll die. Like, it's a great way to narrow my focus.
I mean, there's no other thing I do that's life or death like that.
Right? Speaking of ADHD, before I forget, I just want to say that Lauren and I met because she was a guest and her episode was about finances.
Very cool. Now, do you know the episode number? Because whenever I listen, I feel like you rattle off the episode numbers. You're like, on episode 53, we talked about this. And I'm like, does she just know these off the top of her head, or are you looking them up?
I'm pretty sure mine is 44 because we've said that often. We refer to like when Lauren first guest.
Yeah. So way back.
And it's called The Most Popular Girl in the Psych Ward.
Are you looking it up right now?
No. I was typing. I wouldn't say I'm second guessing every single thing I say, but then I just realized, did I mess up your pronouns? And then I felt bad.
Oh, no.
So that's literally what I was like looking up. I was like, let me go to your bio.
That's so considerate. Oh my God. You're so professional.
Well, I mean, I deal with a lot of, writers, and now I'm starting a podcast and I'm just trying to be more aware of things, how people say their names. And it's a good time to be doing it because a lot of people, they've said their name publicly, so you can listen to them say it. That's a nice thing to have when their name, you're not sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure. Don't worry. You are obviously an editor because you think about those kind of things, and I really appreciate it.
So wait, no, just to go back to that, do you use they?
I do. I use she also.
Okay.
And most people call me Chris, but my professional name online is Christina, and I haven't decided if I want to just be Chris or if I don't know, because that would involve changing my name everywhere online.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
I actually, for people who, aside from like pronouns around gender, just people who have a name preference that's different from the name they go by other places, I always feel like that must be really challenging in some instances because like I would rather call someone by whatever name they want to be called, but I don't always know. Like I actually have a friend, she lives near you, and her name is also same as yours, but with a K, and she socially goes by Chris, but official name, Christina.
I like that. Socially goes by.
So like we send a lot of mail to it, like cards. So like I write out her name, Christina, on the card, but then she always signs her cards, Chris. Then I started doing it.
At the same thing, when I sent you your card, I sent Rachel a pickles and vodka sticker and a little card I made. And I didn't know what to put both of your last names or like initials or like what you would prefer.
Either way, I know a lot of women who use 3 names and like one is their maiden name and one is their married name. I'm not married. This like my parents gave me this name, but Kramer is my mom's name. And my parents got divorced when I was young. And I mean, I'm close with both of them, but Kramer is my mom's name. So when I started writing professionally, I just started using all 3. And I also kind of like the ring of it. And then there's no one's going to be like, oh, is there another Rachel Kramer Bussel? I mean, there's no other Rachel Bussel writing, but still, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's like insurance.
I don't want to say branding purposes, but just like, I think it's more memorable. And now once I started doing it, I love that. Speaking of name changes, aside from the political impact, there's this bill going around. I can't remember which one it's called, but it's the one that if you change your name and you don't have your ID to match that, or you don't change your birth certificate, like you might not be able to vote.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm just going to say, based on other things I've heard from people who've changed their name in the last like couple years, it seems like it's a pain. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying like, especially if it's like you're using your married name for some things and your maiden name, like I think you have to really be careful that everything gets changed because it could really mess up your, not just voting, but like, you know, other things.
Oh yeah, we're becoming aware.
My mom just got remarried when she was 72 2 years ago, and I was really surprised that she...
Good for her.
Yeah, but I was really surprised that she decided to change her last name because even, you know, like, I don't know, it's got to be like 25 years ago at least now, when my parents divorced, you know, she never took off the married name just because she was starting a profession and just like that's who she's known as. It's a pain.
I think it sounds easier in your head, and then you realize all the things that have your name on it. And I also read this really haunting, I forget what section it was in. It was in the New York Times. This woman had given her son 4 names, like 2 middle names.
Hey, I have 2.
Well, she said that has been a logistical nightmare for him. And it's caused like a lot of problems because the government sometimes puts, I guess, his first middle name like as his first name. And he's had trouble getting his license renewed and things like that. And she basically said, if I could do it over again, I would only give him a regular middle name because he's had all these issues with the government, like not having his correct name. Now that's on them. It's their fault. It's not inherently bad. But once I read that, I was like, okay.
Yeah, luckily, I don't think people were quite as nuts about that kind of stuff when I was like very young, because otherwise I would have been angry at young me. Because of course, when I'm like 8 or 9, then I don't know the potential ramifications. And I just thought it was cool that I have 2 middle names. I'm like, I'm going to use this initial sometimes and sometimes this one because I feel like it gets left out. So,
oh, it's so devious.
So when I'm filling things out,
that is cool though.
Okay, Rachel, I want to talk about mental health because you have some stories to tell.
Yay.
I do. I don't know. You asked me a question because I'm like,
okay,
it's a big topic.
Just talk about mental health.
Yeah, go. No, just kidding. So like basically, how long have you been talking about mental health and like how is it approached in your family growing up?
I mean, it's always both sides of my family, like pretty openly, I would say. My mom was a social worker. I know she went to therapy. Like my parents got divorced when I was little, like before I even remember. And my dad was an active alcoholic when I was a kid. Like all these things have been discussed. My grandfather on my dad's side has PTSD from being a POW in World War II. That's as far as I remember, like always been pretty open, like not just that, but him having depression, him going to a therapist. So I would say growing up, I'm not going to say it was like a common topic it wasn't like every night we're sitting around talking about it, but it wasn't stigmatized. But at the same time, I had a period of disordered eating in like late high school, early college, and I did not tell my mom about it or my dad. Not that I couldn't have, but I think when you're a teenager, you don't want to talk to your parents. I mean, I didn't want to talk to my parents about a lot of things.
Secrets are all you have sometimes.
Not because I didn't think they would be supportive, but just that wasn't where I wanted to go for support. And then publicly, it's interesting because I'm also a hoarder, which is a mental health condition. I believe it's now in the DSM. It wasn't always, or it was sort of categorized under OCD. I don't necessarily think of that when I think about my mental health, probably because that's not something I talk about in therapy. It's something I've gotten help with from like professional organizers and people like that. I've talked about maybe some hoarding tendencies, but it's not really, I do think it's something I grapple with, but I don't really think of that under the umbrella of like my mental health per se. I think because like my ADHD is much more of a daily mental health struggle.
Would you say the hoarding is like a coping mechanism for the ADHD?
And that's the other thing. I don't really see it that way. Like I don't really feel like it's connected to other mental health struggles I have. For me, I think it's connected to ADHD in the sense of like, I'm very sentimental and I will always want to keep something if it reminds me of someone or something. I don't keep literally everything. Like I just found photos from at least 20 years ago. Like there were maybe like, or early 2000s, like they were summer when I was traveling a lot. I was seeing a lot of bands. I mean, there were some photos. These are pre-cell phone. I think they were throwaway cameras. Like I was a terrible photographer. So there were photos from concerts that you could not see anything. Like, I don't know who was playing. I saw like maybe a stage. Like I did not keep the photos that I couldn't see anything. I mean, I'm not that bad of a hoarder. There are some that probably most people would throw away because they were like, maybe you see like the outline of someone's, like they're not great photos. The other ones I was really happy to keep. But then like, this is at the time when you would get duplicates for free, from the drugstore. Like every photo has 2 photos. Do I need duplicates of all the photos? Not really. Do I feel like going through them all and getting rid of the extra photos? But like, am I grateful that I have those, even though they were tucked away for, I don't know, at least 10 years? Like I haven't looked at them in ages. I didn't realize I still had them. But once I found them, I was really happy to keep them. And the big difference I see often between me and my boyfriend is like, he is not sentimental about items. And I guess to me, like the items are connected to my memories of either the people that are associated with them, like a dress I wore when I did X thing reminds me of this person. So maybe I want to keep it because of that. If I hate the dress, like I'm no longer wearing it, I don't know if I would be as into keeping it. But if I still like it and wear it and it reminds me of someone or a memory, then like, to me, the only reason to get rid of it would be if it does get in my way. Like I spend a lot of time looking for stuff.
You're really speaking my language. I don't know what that says about me, but as someone who writes memoir, like I rely on items a lot. In fact, I'm surprised I haven't written anything for that prompt you put out about objects because I'm the same way.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing in and of itself. I think it depends on the degree of it. Like I've seen hoarders, not tons of episodes, but enough that like I would never say, oh, that's like super extreme and I could never be that person, because I probably could be that person. Actually, I'm starting a podcast probably in March. It's called Finders and Keepers, and it's about our attachments to our belongings. And it's been really interesting to talk to people because I see it as a continuum. Like in some ways, like minimalists on one side and hoarders on the other side. But I think they're almost like it's not all the way on the other side. Like I think in some ways it comes all the way around the circle, because I think both minimalists and hoarders have attachments to their things, but like minimalists are looking at it in a different way. And, they're each looking at it from a different perspective. But there's similarities, like in that, like they both care deeply, but they just want different things out of the way their space looks and feels.
I never thought about it like that before, but you're so right.
It's not that I think things are more important than people. Like people are so important to me. I mean, probably too important. Like I am definitely a people pleaser. I mean, that's something I struggle with. I don't know if that counts as like a mental health concern, but definitely like if I think someone's mad at me, or I think someone doesn't like something I said, or if I make a mistake, especially like as an editor, like if I mess something up and it's someone else's work, like if it's my own work, okay, that sucks too. But at least, it's just affecting me, but when it's affecting someone else, I feel really bad. I mean, I'm 50. You would think maybe I would be less sensitive, but I actually think I get more sensitive as I get older. I don't know.
That's a thing. 100%.
It's funny because like when I think of mental health or struggles with mental health, I think of kind of like big picture things like depression, eating disorders, or like ADHD, but I don't necessarily think of like people pleasing. And I don't know, because it's not like a severe thing, but definitely like, okay, I'll give an example. A man, I do think that's relevant, wrote me a long email, like maybe 5 paragraphs about a call for submissions that I had put out. And he said like, I just heard about your site through this other writing site. And there was like so many points of like, I think you should pay people more. I think you should have worded this differently. I think this and this. What? And like, now he also said like disclosed some mental health conditions. So like, I feel like some of it was just his projection, but I was just like, it's not like I was like, oh, let me rewrite my whole thing. But like the fact that I'm still thinking about it like 3 weeks later,
oh yeah,
that's I think a different situation because I don't think that's a constructive criticism. That was just sort of like a brain dump onto someone that you don't know, like of
unwarranted.
It was just totally unprofessional. And I was just like, I'm not saying you can't have an opinion about someone else's, magazine or publication or writing or whatever, but it was just so like, almost like you're doing more harm than good with this call for submissions. And I was just kind of like, well, I mean, I think the great thing about where we are now with online access is that anyone can start a publication. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but like, I didn't spend money to start mine on Substack. I mean, I spent money on paying my writers, but like, it's literally free to start a Substack or a whatever. I don't know. Is Blogger still around? Like I used to use Blogger. I've used almost all WordPress, Blogger, Wix,
Live
Substack.
Journal.
But yes, Live Journal, MySpace. I mean, not all of them. Tripod was my very first. You might be too young for Tripod, but
I remember them.
Maybe that was 1998. That was my first blog, raquelita8.tripod.com.
Okay, but have you heard of Homeschool Blogger? I
have not. But wait, did you mention it on your podcast? Because if you did, then through you, yes. But
yeah,
was it a message board?
No, it was just like Blogspot, but homeschoolers used it, so our parents would let us do a blog only if it was on Homeschool Blogger.
And did they read it?
No. But Lauren and I have definitely been around the block when it comes to blogs. I think it was inevitable that we have this podcast, honestly.
Do you feel like podcasts are like the new blogs in some ways?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how I first fell in love with them, because I was going through a really lonely time in my life. And I started listening to just talk podcasts with 2 hosts, just talking about whatever. And I would go on long walks and listen, and I would feel less alone. And then I was like, yeah, I could totally do this. It's just 2 people talking. It doesn't have to be scripted or anything. I mean, those are my favorite ones, at least.
Those are some of my favorites. And it's funny because, one of my favorites is on a hiatus. Busy Phillips is doing her best. And at first, when I heard about it, I was like, who would listen to a 3-hour podcast? And then I started listening and I was like, I really like this podcast. And I do listen to them usually at like 1.5 or 2 speed. So it does take less time. But I think if you're good at it, or if there's a rapport between the hosts, and they would have a guest, so it would be like an hour of a guest and 2 hours of talking or whatever. But I would listen to 3 hours of talking if it was interesting talking. Like there's a lot of podcasts that, I'll either binge listen to the whole, however many seasons they have once I discover it, or once I'm caught up, I'm like, oh, I wish that episode was longer. Because I do think, I mean, like to your point, I feel less lonely listening to podcasts. I think partly because, now I'm with my daughter and my social life. I see more people because I'm out all the time with her. But before I became a mom, I worked from home. And I mean, I didn't see a lot of people because I live in suburbs. Like when I lived in New York, I would go to a coffee shop every day to work. So I would, even if I wasn't like chatting with people, I would be around people, but like,
yeah.
And it is kind of lonely. Like I love working for myself. I love what I do. And I do interact with people via writing. But I think there's a big difference between, even if I'm sending emails all day with work things, that is different than hearing a human voice.
Well, you could argue that the interactions you have online like your human voice comes out in those interactions. Because like you're always online, like you post a lot, you're really good at that, and you have a very active presence, at least on Substack.
That's become my new like Twitter, for lack of a better word. Like Twitter was where I used to post a lot.
Can you help me convince Lauren to come to Substack?
You know I want to. It's just not working for me.
Wait, what part is, I'm curious what part isn't working.
So I originally signed up for our podcast Substack, and I cannot figure out a way to just like post for me. I feel like everything that seems logical to me to separate myself from the podcast, it just keeps being like, do you want to post this to Pickles and Vodka? I'm like, no, I want to post this to Lauren.
Oh, they're really bad about, they're like terrible about when you have two. So I have my own personal newsletter and I have Open Secrets, and I'm logged into Open Secrets in Chrome and me in Safari. And for some reason, like it wouldn't keep me logged in Safari. So then I think there were several times where thought I was posting as me and it was posting as Open Secrets, which I mean, I'm posting like personal things, A, and B, like it just didn't make sense. And I didn't know because I just assumed I was logged in and I wasn't checking. And it's super like not intuitive and annoying. And you should be able to toggle between the two, because for many years I've had multiple blogs and social media things, and I've mostly juggled them well. I mean, the worst, this is hilarious now, but it wasn't when it happened. I had a cupcake blog, which was super innocent. And at the time I was like an erotica writer and editor. So people would be like, cupcakes, is that like a sex term? I'm like, no, like cupcakes, the things you eat, the dessert. It's a very family friendly blog about cupcakes. So, but it was on Blogger, and I had like a whole, if I ever log into my Blogger now, I probably had 10 different ones that I had started over the years. So one time I was in England, and so it's like 5 hours ahead of New York, and I posted something I thought was to my personal blog, and it was a photo of my butt in underwear. And it turns out I posted it to my cupcake blog, and I woke up in the morning, and I had co-bloggers but like nobody noticed it because it was late, in the day, like it was in the evening then. And so I woke up in the morning to all these like, what is this? Like what, it was so mortifying. I was so embarrassed.
Cupcakes after dark.
So I took it down, but like ever since then, I don't always follow this rule, but I mostly do. I check whatever I've posted wherever I meant to post it, but I wasn't doing that with the Open Secrets and me because I just didn't occur to me. And then one day I was in my feed and I was like, why is this showing up as Open Secrets? So I will say, like, I did learn a valuable lesson from that experience, but I still, even despite that, I wish Substack made it easy to go between two accounts, but they don't. All of that is not a ringing endorsement for Substack, but I think you have to do them in separate browsers or separate devices, which is annoying. I do think you probably need a separate email because for a little while I had both under my like same Substack account, and it was confusing. Like I actually really like projects that are about a specific topic. I mean, Open Secrets is a little different because it's not about any one topic, but I'm excited about my podcast because it is about our relationship with our stuff, but then like that's pretty broad. Like I think anyone could have a story about their stuff.
I want to steer the conversation back to eating disorders. So, Rachel, you mentioned you had an eating disorder when you were young and you didn't tell your parents.
Yes.
You also you've mentioned to me that you had a close friend who had an eating disorder, and you wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think she would not mind, but she's no longer alive, so I feel okay about it. And I do tread lightly on like, it's not my story to tell exactly. And I also don't know everything about her story. Like I wish we had more conversations about it because it wasn't a secret, but I don't know all of the details. But I know she was 45 when she died. And I know it was at least like a 20-year experience for her. We dated when I was 27 and she was 25. So back in like the early 2000s. I don't think we really talked about it when we were dating. I mean, I knew about it. We didn't really get super into it. Like, I don't remember us really having conversations about her current state. I know she would tell me like, oh, I had been in these rehabs and I'd been in treatment. She told me that. And I mean, I've found out some other things since then about her experience with treatment. I think what I do want to say is that she went into the mental health field and became I want to say psychotherapist. I mean, she helped a lot of people with their own eating disorders. And I think that she was really good at it because she had empathy and understanding of what they were going through. And that is beautiful. Like I've read people's like testimonials about that and heard from people, but it's also heartbreaking because I said to her in the like maybe last 6 months of her life, at some point, I said, you know, I wish someone could do what you do for these people for yourself. And I remember like she hated listening to podcasts. She never listens. I got her to listen to one, Wiser Than Me by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It was the Rita Moreno episode. And I was like, I know you hate podcasts, but listen to this one because she had lots of different interests. And she had told me that she became a death doula. And I was like, oh, listen to this Rita Moreno talking about like a good death versus a bad death, because she had been through that experience with family members, both kinds. And she really describes it very beautifully. And just honestly, like I think it's hard to find resources of people talking about like what it's actually like to be with someone who's going through that.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
This is crazy because we had a few weeks ago an anonymous guest on our podcast who is scheduled for assisted dying. Actually, 6 days
Soon.
from now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So they're like live posting about it right now as we speak. And like, I know they would want to shout out. So shout out, you know who you are.
Wow.
So this is literally probably the last episode they'll listen to.
Wow.
Which is really crazy. So I couldn't not mention that.
No, please. Yeah. So I remember I told her to listen to that one, and I would send her episodes of ones like with a transcript. And around the time this was happening in either late 2022 or early 2023, Glennon Doyle was posting about getting treatment for her eating disorder. And I sent her an episode about it that I thought that she would appreciate. And that had a transcript. I think she printed out the transcript, which I just thought was so funny and a like thing to do of like, to me, podcasts are such a modern thing, and printing out something from the internet is like just not modern. But and she said something like, "I'm so glad she's able to get help," and you know, something about brain chemistry and how like you know she wished she could do that, but she couldn't. And I think like having known her and known how much she grappled with it, both professionally and personally. You know, she got a lot of help for it and was always trying to make peace with it. But she said something to me. I mean, again, I don't know if this is right to say it, but I also feel like I don't know where else is a good place to talk about this. But she emailed me something in the last year before she died and said, "I'll always have anorexia, but I know how to do it and not die." And that was part of a longer email. But when I read that, I got chills. And I thought to myself, like, I have to be really careful with how I respond to this. I don't want her to feel like I'm not a safe person to talk to. And I'm not going to, like, try to, you know, tell her what to do. Or she was a very smart, brilliant person. And I found out later that, like, her people had tried to do interventions that, you know, she reacted poorly to. I think she wanted to get help on her own terms. But, you know, after she passed, I really thought about that email, and I was just so sad that, okay, I'm crying now. I was just really sad that that wasn't true, you know, because I know that she thought that. I know that she believed that. And I think if that were possible, like, she would still be here. I think it wasn't possible in her case. And there's so much more that I think she wanted to do here. And, you know, it's been really hard for me. We like had periods where we were not as much in touch. We had a lot of like drama, let's just say. We had a lot of dating drama when we were in our 20s, but like in our 30s and 40s, like, we would have periods where we were less close or more close. But in the last year of her life, like, we were very close. We were talking every day, or like, you know, chatting, or sometimes multiple, like, we'd be emailing each other and Facebook messaging each other like all day. So like, I really miss that. Like, I just miss talking to her and telling her things, but it's really, really hard to not have her like see me as a mom. I became a mom in August 2024, and like I did a psychic session like that December of 2024, and I don't really know how I feel about psychics, but I just felt like I saw someone posting that they had spoken with this person, and anyway, the psychic said that like when I'm singing to my daughter, Kiki's watching me. And I mean, obviously I don't know if that's literally true or not, but like that gave me a little bit of comfort, because I think she would be so happy to see like how funny and smart and just sweet my daughter is. And like it's really, really hard to not have her in my life. Or, you know, I do believe she's in my life in some way, but you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. And I do think about a lot. Like, I'm a mom of a daughter, and I you know, I've read a lot of books about it, but it is hard for me to think like I'm very careful about how I talk about eating around her, how I talk about weight, how I talk about her eating, you know, but it's so hard, because it feels like you could always be saying like the wrong thing. I mean, even though she's 1 year old, but I know a lot of those things start really young.
But you're the first guest we've had that has talked about this, I think. Like, it's a perspective that I think a lot of people would be interested in hearing.
And I do think about it a lot. And I also know that, you know, this is a privileged time where she's home with me most of the time. Like, I see what input she's getting. Like, when she starts going to school, not at 3 probably, but when she's a little bit older, you know, there's going to be different input, and I'm going to lose some control over what she absorbs. And that is scary to me, because, I mean, I want her to be independent and think for herself. But, you know, I think a lot about Kiki's parents, who, you know, are devastated that their daughter's no longer here. And I just think about, how can I do the best things for my child while also knowing that you can't control everything for them. Like, it's really hard. It's a very hard tension. I like only think about it like in small doses, because otherwise I would just be too stressed out.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for sharing about your friend. Mm-hmm. She sounds like a great person. Like, I had chills when you were talking about her. It's very sobering to hear that as someone who does still have an active eating disorder. And Lauren, too, I know we talk about it on and off, but it's something that it impacts our lives on a daily basis. And we kind of do sometimes trick ourselves into thinking we have an immortality complex or something. So yeah, I was getting choked up when you were talking about this. And we had a podcast guest, Dawn, who passed away 2 years ago, and her death also shook me, because it was like, okay, none of us are invincible. Your body can only go so far. And yeah,
that was
just really powerful.
Like, that was really what hit me the hardest, is what you said about her saying she knew how to do it right. Because I've talked about this on the show before, but it reminded me of not as close of a friend as it sounds like yours was, but, you know, someone that I knew, someone that I'd been through treatment with. She was always one of the ones that could really take it to the extreme, it seemed like. And so that's what one of my other treatment friends was telling me, you know, when she was basically saying, you can't trick yourself into thinking that you can just keep a little or everything like that, is talking about this friend that ended up passing. Is she told me then, she's like, we can't all be Katie. And, you know, her point was just we can't all take it to this same extreme. And then, you know, something like 7 years later, this girl ended up dying from anorexia. And I just remember, for some reason that phrase came back to me, and it just hit me really hard, that I was like, yeah, because in the end, even Katie couldn't be Katie anymore. No one can keep it up.
Something I also think about a lot is, and I respect this decision. I understand why families would not necessarily want to disclose that is a cause of death for people in a public obituary. But I do wonder if that was disclosed more, if that would make people more aware.
Oh, for sure.
I have it in my will.
And I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert in eating disorders or the culture, but I do think that I'm not sitting around reading obituaries every day. I'm reading them when people are posting them of, you know, someone they know who's passed usually. But I just feel if we were more honest about it as a culture, I'm not saying it would solve everything, but like I think it would make people maybe more aware of how insidious it can be, and that, you know, it is much more complex than I think our culture, the general culture, like makes it seem. That it's not always the extremes. Like there's also like different kinds of eating disorders, and that they can start very young, and they can be part of your life and then not part of your life and then come back later in life.
Yeah, because even like I've heard that it screws up with getting funding for eating disorders or having support programs and things like that, because medically people die and they put it as cause of death, and it'll be like heart failure. And it's like, well, yeah, but why did their heart fail? And so
or suicide.
Exactly. I was thinking of that too. I was like, how many people? Yeah.
And I didn't even know that like some of the statistics, like when she told me that, like when I was trying to think of like how to respond, I was Googling a little bit, and I got really chilled when I saw like some of the rates about like fatalities and things. And because like when she said that, it made me realize that she knew it was that serious. Like she knew that that was a possibility. And like in some ways I was glad she was aware of that. And like she was much more well versed in the, not just her own experience, but like the broader topics. But she was also I was very honored that she even talked about it with me. But I'm not saying that if you don't seek help, then you don't deserve help. But I think like knowing that she was seeking help, like she had joined a support group, an online one in that last year, you know, that was just heartbreaking for me to know that she tried all the things. I mean, I don't know every single thing she tried, but she tried so many different things. And she did have such a full, I mean, she was such a like unique, vibrant person. Like I went to Florida for her celebration of life, and I met people from all different stages of her life. And that was really beautiful. And like, I just heard so many stories. And I always think about like, shouldn't we do a celebration of life when people are alive? Like,
yes, that's what I've been saying.
Yes.
I want to go to my own funeral.
Because, like, yes, that was beautiful, but, like, and, like, yeah, maybe it's awkward to be like, come celebrate me. It's not necessarily my birthday or whatever, but, like...
Look, I might not ever have a wedding. This is the least you can do.
And it might, just be nice to know people think that of you when you're alive.
Right? Because, like, people do come to a celebration of life or a funeral, and, like, people who you maybe weren't that close with at this time, but were in the past. Like, people do come out because it's like, yeah, of course they want to pay their respects, and it is cathartic and like bonding. Like, I heard great stories, and I met interesting people who knew her, and I had conversations I still think about all the time. But like, I really came away from that thinking like, doesn't everyone deserve this while they're still alive?
Yes. I'm trying to be better about telling people what they mean to me while I have them, just casually. Oh, by the way, I love this about you. Or like, if I am reminded of them, I'll text them to let them know, like, hey, I saw this. It reminded me of this one time we blah, blah, blah. I love that. For me, like, I'm affirmations based. Like, that's all I need to thrive is just people affirming me with words. And so, yeah, more with that, please, while people are alive.
This is like another, I don't know, coincidence thing. A little while after she died, I saw someone wearing this t-shirt that said, tell them you love them. And so I looked it up, and I bought my own version, and I wear it, every month. But like, I always think about her when I wear it. And I do also think about like you just said, like, tell this person, I'm thinking about them. When you have a kid, it's pretty easy to like, if you're thinking of someone, you can send them a cute kid photo, and you're like, hey, here's this. And like, that's not like her purpose or anything, but like, it is really sweet. Like, people tell me that they have her birth announcement up on their fridge. And, I have friends who are child free and aren't like, would never want to have their own kids, but they're like, can you send me some photos of her having a bad day? And like, and so like, I sort of add them to my mental list of like people to text when I have like a particularly cute one. And yeah, I do also try to do that because I forget sometimes that, maybe I'm just randomly walking around or, doing the dishes or something. And I think about someone or some random thing that happened. Or like when I found those 20-year-old photos, I found photos of people that like I'm friendly with online. Like, I follow them, but I don't correspond with them often, but I sent them the photos I had of them and they were like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I remember that party, or I remember this, concert. And like, that was really nice. Like, that felt like a sweet moment. And like, I think those sweet little moments are in some ways what life is all about, in addition to like the bigger things.
Yeah. I'm just enjoying this conversation so much. I feel like it's been so rich. We're almost at an hour. And I wanted to make sure you had enough time to tell people like where to find you and to brag about your recent projects.
Oh, thank you. Well, I would say my website, I don't update it that much, but rachelkramerbussel.com. Substack Notes is where I am the most often. My Substack is rachelkramerbussel.substack.com. I find notes, I don't know. I mean, in my head, I just tell myself it's only going to like these people that I want to see it, even though I know like notes get emailed out to people, which like freaks me out. But I just kind of treat it as like tweets where like I used to just talk about like all the like whatever was on my mind. And like it got a little awkward because like my grandfather was on Twitter for a while, which was amazing. I mean, he was in his 90s, but he would like sometimes I would be just like
the World War II one?
Yes. And he's 102. He's still alive. And he's not on there anymore because of Elon Musk. Like
send him this podcast.
He hates Elon Musk. He's super liberal. Anyway, so it was cool that he was on there, but like it was less cool when like I would be like having a really tough time and it'd be like, I think one time I posted like everything is ruined. Like I was just having a really rough day and I was just like venting and he was like calling me like, are you okay? Which was like super sweet, but also like, and then one time I was visiting my dad he uses the technology a little, but he's not like on social media. And I went to use his browser and I saw like it popped up like Rachel Kramer Bussel Twitter as like a search. And I was like, he's also reading it, even though he's not on there. So I think like Substack, I like it because it feels there's a little more of a remove. So that is like my personal stuff. And Open Secrets is opensecretsmagazine.com. We publish a couple times a week and we're also on Instagram, Open Secrets Mag. And if any of you are in or near New York, we're having a big personal storytelling summit on May 2nd that I'm really excited about with over 30 memoir authors.
I wish I could go to that.
I know.
Sounds dope.
Well, we are going to record it. So as long as everyone's okay with the audio being released, like we're going to release those online. So people will get to hear it, even if they can't make it live.
Hell yeah. That's so cool. Thank you so much for coming on. I was looking forward to this a lot.
Me too. Because I've been listening. Like, I think I told you I've been deciding. I was like, should I start from the beginning or should I go backwards? But I'm going backwards, even though it's not, I don't know.
That's probably better.
So, but I am making my way through. And I love that about podcasts in general, because it feels like it feeds that like binge watching, reading, listening. Like it feels like fulfilling because like I'm a completist. Like if I like something, I want to take part in all of it.
I like that word. Also, I want to be on your podcast.
Oh yes, I want you to be. I'm trying to pace myself. Speaking of mental health, I had like kind of a mental health breakdown last summer over it, and like I was crying over like some of the tech stuff, and my boyfriend was like, Rachel, you don't have to start this podcast. Like it's okay. Like I know you want to, but if you're literally in tears and you're like super stressed about it, that doesn't really make sense. And I was like, okay, so I put it aside for like half a year, and now I'm returning. Like I have like 20 more people I want to book, and I'm like, okay, Rachel, you can't do more than 2 a week. Like 1 a week is good. Like it's okay. You can book them into next year. It's okay. Like, you don't have to interview everyone in like 1 month, even though you're so excited. But like I am excited. That's I think where I struggle with ADHD. Like I get so excited about things, and then I make them much bigger and more complicated than they need to be, and then
I feel attacked.
I get overextended and then I like retreat, basically.
Yep. Also, highly recommend getting a co-host if you're feeling burnt out. It worked for me.
It worked.
Thank you. So yes, I will definitely have you on. I'm like really geeking out over it. Like it's just really fun to hear about how people think about their stuff and like what it means to them.
Yeah, so go listen to Finders and Keepers. When is it going live?
Yeah.
I hope March 4th. I keep pushing the date because like different things come up, but hopefully I'll say March 2026. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can send them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where they can listen to our entire catalog and find our newest merch. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka. My personal Instagram is at xtinajumper, and Lauren's is at Lauren3_AFH. We'll see you next week.